All right, welcome along, ladies and gentlemen, to HOSS. This weekend we've got the V8 Utes racing at Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. Circuit originally opened in 1962. That was a 3.8 kilometre course for those of us that deal in the metric measurement. However, from 1990 onwards we are on the current layout of the circuit, 3.6 Ks. Lap record a 105 set by Will Power in 2016 in a Dallara IndyCar. Welcome B2. I do believe it's a special day in your life today, B2.
Yes, thanks B1. Just entering the last year of my 40s. To cling on to that last little thread with hope for the next 12 months.
Yeah, another one rolls over on the calendar. So we are looking at a 8-minute qualifying session for the Tier 2 drivers at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. So on the leaderboard, in practice at least, Alex Sprague's done a 1:32. He is in Tier 1, but we'll be looking for the mid to low 130s. Just looking at Dylan Dalrymple at the moment, circulating in the Kmart Racing livery Holden Ute.
Yeah, 11th fastest time for Dylan at the moment on our leaderboard, sort of hovering around the 135s at present.
Yeah, just chatting to Paul Lancaster before the session started. He said a really good circuit to get round. Once again, a bit of undulation in the track, the odd off-cambered downhill corner that we struck last week. So we'll see how the Utes get on. Of course, we've commented it does take a couple of laps to get the tyres into these beasts up to temperature before they start punching out the hot lap times. And they're also very tail happy. But my gosh, do they sound good through the speakers down here at HOSS.
Yeah, they do. Hamish has got it cranked up a little bit for our oral pleasure at this present time.
Yeah, so those of you tuning in from the Green Party, we've got some awfully bad news. We do like the sound of our V8s. Alright, so Dylan's just put his first stake in the ground at a 1:44. But of course the times will come down through the qualifying session, 5:30 left to go.
So as you said before there, Alex Sprague got his best lap of a 1:32 at the moment. Andrew Bruce kind of hot on his tail there, 1:33.1, so only not even half a second behind. Followed by Billy Manson, Shane Edgar and Billy Rowley, all in the 1:33s.
So another purple sector there for Dylan. Looking at the Brembo livery Falcon. Big sweeping right-hander. Just going past the entry to the pit lane. Down the front straight. So now into the 136s. It's the Hurricanes going to challenge. Jimmy Carroll does a 1:38.0. He's got the fastest middle sector. Clicking down on the clock. Over 4 minutes left to go for our qualifying session for the Tier 2 drivers at HOSS this evening. Coming at you from the Royal Arcade, Timaru. Apparently New Zealand's oldest Victorian and Edwardian arcade, it's saying in the paper.
Is that right?
That is right. With Sal's Pizza reopening last week. It's just a couple of doors along the arcade from us.
I wonder what happens to that status if Quinn's Arcade in Waimate reopens. Is that older?
Not sure, but is it a Victorian and Edwardian arcade?
Well, it's pretty bloody old.
Is that where you used to hang out on the mean streets of Waimate when you were bunking Waimate High School back in the day?
No, it was pretty much derelict then, but Mr. Rooney's gone in there and spent some money, and they've opened it back up as it was back in the day. It did house a movie theatre at one stage as well, but it did have a fire in it, and since then which was, I think, when my father was young. It's been kind of derelict, but getting a new lease on life.
Anyway, so James Swaney sitting second on the leaderboard at a 1:36.8. Jimmy Carroll's been pushed back to P3 at 1:38.0. Adam Bell's on a 1:38.5.
Dylan Dalrymple faster again. 3 purple sectors, 1:35.
That'll be matching the time he had on the leaderboard, isn't it there, Paul? You said he was doing, had a 1:34. Anyway,
line that up, 1:35.067, I think that is for Dylan on the leaderboard. So that is his fastest time, yeah.
Alrighty, so Paul Lancaster, he goes up to P4, 1:37.7. Did hear a little bit of colourful language out of Mr. Lancaster earlier on. Just trying to dial himself in on the Mid-Ohio course this evening.
Not having much luck at that point in time.
No, so as we said, 3.6 Ks. Current layout was opened in 1990. However, the original circuit been operating since 1962. Just about everyone in the USA goes there. Got IMSA sports cars, the NASCAR trucks race there, IndyCar races there.
As you were saying before, quite a bit of undulation, and you kind of get the feeling that it's probably steeper than it looks.
So we might get some in-car footage later on this evening. But Dylan goes through another fastest first sector.
These guys now should have all the heat in their tyres and brakes.
Yeah, so we're just into the last couple of minutes. Nice warm day there, 22 degrees air temperature, 25 on the track. Hopefully we won't get any solar eclipses this week.
No, I haven't seen a zoo on the embankment either, like we had the other week.
No, we need to go to the Czech Republic. I think that's where all the fun seems to happen. Rolling through the zoo.
Yeah, they might have had the vodka on the bank or something like that. It was pretty rowdy.
All right, so currently P8, Paul Latu on a 1:39.5. P1 is Dylan Dalrymple on a 1:35.0. Nathan Kippenberger's moved into P2. He's on a 1:36.5. And then James Swaney, Jimmy Carroll, Dallas Redhead, Paul Lancaster was fourth on the board earlier on. He's sitting on still on his 1:37.7. Rolling down to the last 30 seconds or so of this 8-minute qualifying session for the Tier 2 competitors in our V8 Utes. So there we go, the South Canterbury Removals vehicle being piloted there by Paul Lancaster. Let's see what he can do. Can he improve on his 1:37.7 to move himself further up the grid?
This might give you a bit more of an idea of
the undulation, yeah. On the brakes through right-hander. Oh, there we go. There's a dip. Uphill again. Left, and then, oh yeah, down. Just clips the apex on the right there. Under the Honda bridge. Rides the ripple strip. Oh,
here we go. A little bit tail happy there.
Yeah, a bit tight on the corner through the apex he goes. So can he beat a 1:37.7? And the South Canterbury Removals Ford Falcon Ute.
Nice little four-wheel drift there heading down towards that corner.
That'd be quite a handy thing to use in the South Canterbury Rally, one of these. Wonder if you can service for yourself.
Yeah.
Be quite handy.
Carry half a dozen spare tyres in the back and 8 jerry cans of gas.
So he does go slightly faster, Paul Lancaster, 1:37.3. James Swaney, P2, Adam Bell, P3, Nathan Kippenberger, P4.
So we have just been delivered the points table in front of us here. It's a little hard to read, but we'll do my best. First at the moment in Tier 1, Alex Sprague, and he is followed there by Braden Carroll, Andrew Bruce in third, Billy Manson, Nick McPherson, Morgan Dorr in sixth, Shane Edgar, Hamish Brader and Johnny Small. So, qualifying over.
Getting ready, 8 laps at Mid-Ohio. Who's going to get the best start? As I said, you have to wait for all the lights to go out before you can select the gear. Dylan Dalrymple, James Swaney on the front row. So we were supporting the HOSS colours this evening in the black and gold Ford Falcon. Then we've got Adam Bell, Nathan Kiffenberger behind them on the grid.
Lights are out.
Who was that?
Adam Bell.
Adam Bell didn't hook a gear.
He's been swallowed up by the pack and now been pushed off the side.
That might have been a bit of assistance there, was it, from the Victoria Bitter Ute? Anyway, it is fastest qualifier. Dylan Dalrymple leads the field away from the line. Down the straight he goes, giving that Brembo Falcon a good spanking. Oh, big puff of flame out the exhaust there as they change down for the right-hander. Through they go. Dylan Dalrymple, Adam Bell, Paul Lancaster's got the South Canterbury Removals vehicle up to P3 with the HOSS vehicle being stranded on the start line.
Yeah, 4 places for Paul Lancaster, and also the other Paul Latu, 4 places up as well, up into 5th.
So he started at the back of the grid. That's a good move through the field for Paul Latu. There we go. Ooh, past there, is it? Oh, just watching the Victoria Bitter Ute. And our good friends Elmo and the Cookie Monster. Dallas Redhead. Anyway, through the screen they go. Dylan Dalrymple. Paul Lancaster now up to P2. Jimmy Carroll.
Well, someone's had a moment there.
But Dylan Dalrymple driving away from the field, making the most of his good start. Doing some good times there in the clear air. And as we've said, it will take a couple of laps for the tyre temperatures in these V8 Utes to get within the operating window. But 1:45.1 from a standing start for Dylan Dalrymple in the Brembo Falcon. Adam Bell, Paul Lancaster goes through. Jimmy Carroll, James Swaney, Paul Latu drop back to 6th. Nathan Kiffenberger, Dallas Redhead there, giving Ernie and Cookie Monster a ride round the circuit in P8. So downhill right-hander. Along the straight they go. Oh, we've got the Victoria Bitter Ute there, just having a wee look down the inside. Can he hold that line coming through the right-hander?
The 3 at the back haven't really sorted themselves out yet.
No. Well, he's still sitting there wanting to find a way past.
And that's James Swaney getting all tail happy there. It's allowed the 3 at the back to catch up onto his tail.
Yeah, Paul Lancaster now got himself a bit of clear air in P2.
Oh, here we go, we've got a bit of assistance going on here. Managed to hang on to it.
Oh. What's that driver standards officer think? We've got no expressions there out of Billy. So
yes, I'm sure he'll be watching with keen interest tonight.
So
some penalties last week handed out.
Yeah, so James Swaney there just on the back of Jimmy Carroll and the Jim Beam bonded.
The Paul Latu's had a bit of a moment there. He's ended up at the rear of the pack.
Ooh. Looked awfully close there from our camera angle. Just got James Swaney, just got his nose ahead now. He's made the position before they break for the right-hander. Using all the track a little bit more. Gets the inside wheels across the ripple
he's
stroke.
Done all his good work though.
He certainly has. That's going to put him to the back of the field.
A lot of groans from the background here, Brendan.
Anyway, Jimmy Carroll now being hunted by Nathan Kiffenberger and the Victoria Bitter Holden Ute.
Oh, looks like Paul Lancaster might have had a bit of an
at a moment, he's
excursion.
dropping back through the field. Yeah, he was P2. So that is the ute he'll be sharing later this evening with Shane Edgar when they do the Enduro round. So we've got a sprint race for each field this evening, and then we will have an enduro. But now we're concentrating on the 8-lap sprint. 3 laps in for Dylan Dalrymple. Oh, Jimmy Carroll.
Yeah. He did that all on his own too. Oh, did he? No, I've just been informed he did get a little bit of assistance.
Yeah. Driving standards officer informs us it wasn't of his own. Anyway, there's Nathan Kippenberger in the Victoria bidding machine. Now up to P3, Dallas Redhead. Following him with Cookie Monster and Elmo. Down the front straight they go once again, past the pits. So Dylan is out to a 7-second lead over Adam Bell. Then Nathan Kippenberger. So Dylan's had a good couple of rounds, hasn't he, B2? How's he sitting for the Tier 2 points?
First, funnily enough.
Funnily enough?
Yep. In the first place there on 1,104 points. And then second place is Adam Bell on 981.
So that says they sit on the circuit for lap 4 of 8 at Mid-Ohio for the Tier 2 field. Adam Bell and the Kmart Racing Holden Ute, number 15. A bit of a salute there to Murph.
And it's Paul Latu that's actually sitting in third on the table, so he's got a little bit of work to do.
So he's currently P6 behind James Swaney in the HOSS machine. There we go. There is Paul Lancaster trying to make his way back up the field. Was running in P2. Had a moment all of his own.
Jimmy Carroll just moving up a spot there over Paul Latu. Jimmy Carroll now up into 6th. And
briefly,
as I say that, I've put the commentator's curse on him.
That bonded beam machine, he might need to leave the bonded beam alone until he finishes his race, I think, B2.
Think
so there's Elmo and the Cookie Monster. Dallas Redhead about to start. Lap 5 and Ute number 26. He's got Nathan Kippenberger 4 seconds up the road from him in the Victoria bidder machine. You can just see that going through the Walmart right-hander. Down a couple of gears goes Dallas Redhead. Just nudges the apex onto the ripple strip on the outside of the circuit, then down the main back straight he goes.
And you can see Nathan Kippenberger up ahead there. He's sort of 4.5 seconds further up the track.
Here we go, hard on the brakes. A very undulating part of the circuit that we've mentioned earlier on.
That's the corner there that would really unsettle the back of a Ute up over the crest as you go around the corner. One of these vehicles.
Getting it light on the rear end. Just gently easing the power. Good shut there from the left front door of Dallas Redhead's machine. Still trying to hunt down Nathan Kippenberger 4 seconds up the road. So fastest lap, 1:34.82 race leader. Dylan Dalrymple, leader of the Tier 2 Championship going into this evening's round at Mid-Ohio. Okay, through the S's onto the front straight goes Dallas Redhead to start lap 6. So there's Paul Lancaster. Got himself up to P2 earlier on in the race. Through a little bit of misfortune of some of the others off the start line.
Yeah, it was all undone, unfortunately for him, because he was driving well, but just that one little mistake is enough to push you from the pointy end of the field to the not so pointy end.
Yeah, just had the tail wagging the dog there for a moment as he's trying to hunt down Paul Latu. Closes an under braking, couple of Ute lengths back, we should say. And then further up the road we've got James Swaney in the HOSS Falcon Ute. So he's a further 3 seconds ahead as he heads into the right-hander under brakes. Goes Paul Latu, Paul Lancaster trying to hunt him down on the South Canterbury machine. Wow. Paul Latu
done it all on his own.
Yeah, succumbed to the pressure.
Had the mirrors full of Paul Lancaster there, just got a bit much and let him through. And the Johnny Bravo on the side of that.
Yeah, Johnny Bravo.
Something from your era, isn't it, Brendan? It's a bit before my time.
Johnny Bravo. What else was around that time? Photo Dido.
Queen Victoria.
Yeah, not quite. Queen Vicky had well moved on by that time. Alrighty, race leader Dylan Dalrymple on lap 7 in the Brembo Ford Falcon Ute. Led from the start, fastest lap, 1:34.6. Over 12.5 seconds ahead of Adam Bell on the number 15 Kmart racing machine. Just needs to take it easy and drive home from here. However, we have had many a driver over the series be a master of their own destiny, B2.
That's right, exactly right.
Just getting a little bit taily there, going through the left-hander.
And sometimes it would appear that it's our fault.
Yeah, send all bribes too. All right, down a couple of cogs. Nice exhaust note there in the Brembo Falcon. Dylan Dalrymple, Tier 2 series leader coming into tonight's round. Making it look easy.
Yeah, that lead just stretching all the time. Getting up to close to 14 seconds now.
Yeah, through the S's coming onto the front straight. He's about to start the last lap. His race leader, Dylan Dalrymple in the Brembo Falcon. Under the Goodyear Eagle Bridge. Big open left-hander. Keeps it pegged. Along the straight he goes. There we go. Just up on the ripple strip, just to the outside of the circuit.
Nice and smoothly. As Paul said last week, it's pretty easy to get out of shape by putting the power down too soon coming out of the corner.
So along the long back straight he goes, through the right-hand kink. All right, down 3 gears. Through the right-hander, downhill he goes, back uphill, through the left-hander.
There's a little unsettling curb there.
Yeah, just needs to take it easy. We have seen blown gearboxes and blown engines.
We have.
So you don't want to miss a gear change. A short wee straight there between the two right-handers.
A little sideways there.
Dylan Dalrymple just wants to keep it on the island. Just needs to get it home. External shot once again.
Yeah, it was such a big buffer, he doesn't have to panic too much. He just cruise.
Yeah. There we go. Checkered flag for Dylan Dalrymple in the Brembo Falcon. Comfortable victory. 15 seconds. Here comes our second place driver, Adam Bell. Nathan Kippenberger not too far behind in the Victoria Bitter machine. Then we'll be going back to Dallas Redhead. Taking Cookie Monster and Elmo on for the ride. James Swaney's going to come through P5. He had a big moment on the start line. Well, that's if he gets to the finish line. In the HOSS machine, gets there in the end. There's Paul Lancaster in the South Canterbury Removals machine. Back to Paul Artu. So he was running further up the field. Started P8.
That will be Jimmy Carroll rounding out the field after that huge moment earlier on in the race.
Well, which huge moment for Jimmy Carroll was that? I do believe he had a couple.
The huger of the two.
The huger of the two. All right, so thank you very much, Tier 2 drivers. Good win there for series leader Dylan Dalrymple is going to extend his lead in the Tier 2 Drivers' Championship. So what happened to James Swaney off the start line? My goodness. Alrighty, race 2 anyway. Once again, Tier 2 drivers. Got the Jim Beam bonded machine, Jimmy Carroll. Paul Artu sitting on the outside there.
5 lights, 6 lights. Lights out.
Away we go. Paul Lancaster looks for a gap in the middle between our two drivers off the front row. Doesn't make anything happen at the moment, but they all got away cleanly, including Mr. Swaney and the HOSS Ford Falcon. Through the left-hander they go. Oh, getting a little bit loose there was Dylan Dalrymple in the Brembo Falcon. Let's see if he can drive through the field. Made it look easy in race one.
Here we go, wait for it.
Oh.
Hey, picked it like a dirty nose.
There we go. Dylan Dalrymple, James Swaney, Adam Bell take the most of their opportunity and drive past the rest of the field. So we've got Paul Artu out front, Paul Lancaster, Dylan Dalrymple starting from the back of the grid is now up to P3. Oh, James Swaney getting out of shape. He drives into the side of Adam Bell in the Kmart machine. They're gone.
And it's still going sideways.
Still going. Let's see if the other drivers get through safely. We're just watching Nathan Kippenberger there on the Victoria Bitter machine. He manages to make his way through without getting hooked up in anyone else's carnage. That's going to put Nathan Kippenberger into a very comfortable P4 on the Victoria Bitter Holden. Paul Artu, Paul Lancaster, Dylan Dalrymple though at the front of the field.
Oh, half a lap in and we've had carnage already. A
Yeah,
very eventful lap.
We'll be looking forward to seeing the replay of that, but I do think Adam Bell's going to have a few things to say about being assisted out into the scenery. So there goes Paul Artu. He's going to lead them across the line for lap one.
Dylan Dalrymple not letting Paul Lancaster get too far ahead. In fact, he's right up on his back bumper now.
Yeah, I was just having a little bit of a look down the inside as they got into the braking zone, but wasn't close enough to pull off a manoeuvre. So just sitting behind the South Canterbury Removals Falcon at this part through lap two. So
Nathan getting a bit wide there out in the grass.
Yeah, Nathan Kippenberger, Dallas Redhead, Jimmy Carroll. Oh, we've just had Adam Bell get past Jimmy Carroll to move him up to P6 in the Kmart machine after he was taken out. There we go. Just Dylan Dalrymple just sitting a little bit further right on the circuit as they go into the braking zone. So through the undulating part of the circuit they go. Latu, Lancaster, Dalrymple. Uphill once again.
Lancaster just closed the gap up slightly to Latu, but opened it up back to Dylan Dalrymple, ever so slightly.
Here
Not
we go.
between the first three.
Just keeping it smooth. So just waiting a couple of laps for those tyres to come up to temperature before they can really push on. So title line there for Dylan Dalrymple, our race one winner and championship leader. Gets onto the back of Paul Lancaster once again. He did sit down the inside as they went to the braking zone on the previous lap, but still sits in behind Paul Lancaster. Can't make a move there. Really needs to get on his bumper, get a toe down this short straight. We look back there to Nathan Kippenberger, who has got the fastest lap so far in the Victoria Bitter machine.
James Swaney just getting up a position there over Jimmy Carroll, up into 7th near the rear of the field.
HOSS machine. So looking back out the back of Paul Artu's, back to Paul Lancaster, Dylan Dalrymple. Oh, Paul just has a wee look down the inside. Can he pull off anything?
Paul Artu just running a bit wide there, has allowed that gap to close up.
Yeah, couldn't pull off a manoeuvre there. Definitely giving Latu plenty to think about looking in his mirrors. But we currently have a Holden leading the second race of the evening for the Tier 2 competitors.
Paul Lancaster, the meat and the sandwich here. He's got defence on his mind with Dalrymple behind him, but also trying to attack Paul Artu.
Got to do it cleanly though, because we've got our driver standards officer here glued to the big screen. And we've got plenty of opinions sitting around us watching as well. We've got a third, fourth and fifth opinion.
We have backup.
Plenty of backup, all right.
And none of them are shy.
No. So Paul Artu starts lap 4. Paul Lancaster, Dylan Dalrymple. And just see Nathan Kippenberger there in the Victoria. Bit of Ute all out on his own. He's 4.5 seconds in arrears of Dylan Dalrymple.
And just behind him, James Swaney's made up a spot over Dallas Redhead.
Yeah, but James Swaney's still 15 odd seconds behind this battle pack. Down the straight they go once again. Still Paul Artu leading them in the HSV Ute. South Canterbury Removals Falcon, Paul Lancaster. The Brembo Falcon of Dylan Dalrymple. Keeping it all pretty clean. Still 3.5 laps to go of a outlet sprint race. At the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. What can Dylan Dalrymple do? Convincing win in race 1. Well, just closes in a little bit on Paul Lancaster in the braking zone. Through the tight right-hander and then the left-hander before they come on to the front straight here at Mid-Ohio. Paul Artu gets into lap 5. Fastest lap though, a 1:36.2. Nathan Kippenberger, he's trying to hunt down this field. He's now only got 3 seconds to get onto the bumper of Dylan Dalrymple.
New fastest lap, James Swaney, 1:35.4. Just completed that last lap.
So that's James and the HOSS Falcon. We're concentrating on this battle for the lead. Paul Lancaster just has a wee look down the right-hand side of Paul Artu. Paul moves over to cover this position as they're going through the right-hand kick along the back straight.
Let's
Paul,
just see if he has a bit of a dive up the inside.
Oh,
He's giving him a tap. He's even put his hand up in the background.
Yeah, and that's allowed Dylan Dalrymple to go through. So Paul Lancaster assisted Paul Artu out into the scenery. We'll see what the driving standards officer thinks about that after the race. That's pushed Paul Lancaster into P2 still, really. Yeah, it's Paul Artu that's come out worse after that.
Didn't gain or lose out of that.
And Dylan,
at this point in time,
Dylan Dalrymple's made out like a bandit in the Brembo machine. He didn't really need an invitation. Saw the gap and went for it. Now he's leading race 2 as he was race 1. So we're going through the S's again onto the front straight. And all the time, Mr. Kippenberger in that Victoria bidder machine. He's hunting down the front 3. He's only 3 or 4 ute lengths back off Paul Lancaster and the South Canterbury Removals Falcon. Along the short straight they go. So Kippenberger's best's a 1:36.1. Paul Lancaster a 1:38.6. So takes a wide entry point. Apex is the corner later on than Paul Lancaster. Just runs out to the ripple strip, does Nathan Kippenberger in the Victoria bidder machine. Oh, we've got someone there out in the scenery. Dallas Redhead giving the Cookie Monster and Elmo something to look at. And meanwhile, we've got Adam Bell just goes through in the Kmart machine. So there's James Swaney. He's having a lonely race in the HOSS Falcon.
Yeah, still in the position he started in.
Just keeping it nice and tidy. So he's got his toe in the 1:36s. 1:36.3 though, race leader is the last lap time for Dylan Dalrymple. He's now looking at a 3-second lead over Paul Lancaster in the South Canterbury Removals machine. Then Nathan Kippenberger, James Swaney, Adam Bell, Dallas Redhead, Jimmy Carroll, Paul Artu, who was leading. And he's now back to P8.
New fastest lap of the race, Dylan Dalrymple out in the clear air. 1:35.3.
So 2 laps to go for the race leader in the Brembo Falcon. Can he make it 2 from 2? I think all the action at the moment is Nathan Kippenberger trying to hunt down Paul Lancaster for that P2 position. Just pulled it, gets the tail out a little bit there as they turn into the right-hander. Out to the ripple strip once again goes Nathan Kippenberger.
Paul Lancaster's just opened up that gap there over Kippenberger in the last lap or so.
Got it out to 1.2.
Well, their lap times are pretty similar now, as you were saying before. There was a couple of seconds difference, but Lancaster's responded.
Found another gear.
In a couple of seconds.
In the South Canterbury Removals Falcon. So Dylan Dalrymple, Paul Lancaster, Nathan Kippenberger. 1, 2, 3.
Must have had another moment down the back end of the field there, so he just dropped 3 spots.
So Dallas Redhead getting past Jimmy Carroll. So Jimmy Carroll there on the bonded machine, all over the back of the Gatorade number 26 Ford Falcon. Oh, round he goes.
Jimmy Carroll again. Must have had another shot before the start.
So that takes the pressure off Dallas Redhead. Let's pull Latu up to P7. As we watch Dallas, he goes off circuit. It'll give Paul Latu an opportunity to get a bigger drive through this part of the circuit. Through the right-hander he goes.
So lap 8 of 8. Far to go for Dylan Dalrymple.
Yeah, Paul Latu just sitting on the inside there. These 2 drivers are about to start lap 8. Across the line they go. Can Paul Latu pull off anything at the end of these short front straights? Not a very heavy braking area though. Dallas Redhead holds the position. Gets on the gas once again. Down the short straight. Has an opportunity breaking into the Walmart wide-hander, but he's a long way back from Dallas Redhead. Just takes a nice line through. Dallas Redhead probably gets a better exit though coming onto the straight. Paul Latu just moves to the inside a little bit there. Dallas Redhead comes across and they go through the right-hand kink. And then into the harder braking zone. But there is the race leader, Dylan Dalrymple, coming through the S's onto the front straight. He is going to make it 2 from 2 in Tier 2 in the Brembo Falcon.
Paul Lancaster, second place.
Yeah, Paul Lancaster's going to get a podium though, but we might have a little chat to the driving standards officer.
Yes, yeah.
See what he thinks. There. Earlier on in the race, Paul Lancaster did give Paul Latu an invitation to go look at the scenery. There's James Swaney goes through on the HOSS Falcon. He's going to take P4. Adam Bell there in the Kmart Racing number 15 Holden. Through the S's he goes. He's going to take the checkered flag. He's going to go through P5. Dallas Redhead there giving Cookie Monster and Elmo a ride. He's going to take points for P6.
It's going to be Paul Latu and Jimmy Carroll battling it out for 7th and 8th. It will be Paul Latu followed by Jimmy Carroll to round that one out.
So there we go. Thank you very much, Tier 2 drivers. So what does our driving standards officer think there? Was there anything he was concerned about? There's a few. A few things. He's going to get his notebook out. Oh, he's thinking there's at least 3 penalties to dish out.
So we've got Paul Lancaster just perched on a pew beside us. How was that one for you, Paul? Much better drive?
Good evening, guys. Yeah, no, enjoyed that. I got a good start in that first race too, running third, and I just overcooked it myself. That was all my fault, but that was good. Just starting to really get to grips with the track, but very tricky. A lot of corners that over the crest and drop away, so you get very light the RC in the old Utes. And we're probably going to see a replay here shortly, no doubt, of me punting Paul Artu off, which I put my hand up straight away, but you never know. They got a reasonably good start. A wee bit of carnage going on at the back there. But nice corner this one if we get it right. Don't want to end up out in that grass, which is all over, but we'll see what happens here with the replay up. I think it was about turn 3, I think. But a good win once again to Dylan Dalrymple, getting maximum points. Started off the back row of the grid, so it didn't take him long to get up to the front. A wee bit of a touch there with the Jim Beam Ute as we head up the hill to what they call the keyhole, where it's pretty much a 180 degree, there's a wee bit of carnage there, the 26, Nathan Kibbenberger. It was, oh no it wasn't, he was
driving standards officials looking pretty intently at that.
You have driving standards observer Billy Rowley just looking over the action as we come back to, perhaps this is me on board, going to hit the RC into Paul Artu, having a wee dive up the inside here. He got a wee bit out of shape coming on the back straight, and I thought I'd eye him up down here under brakes. And let's just have a look. Come from a wee way back. He comes, you know, I did lock the brakes up, so that's fully on me. I don't mind sticking my hand up as long as everybody else does. Just lock the rear brakes up and just caught the RC.
That's not very Max Verstappen of you, Paul. Surely you can come out with a better reason than that.
Oh, there's no use fighting over it. It was still good fun.
Still good fun. So you were on the podium initially. We'll see how that pans out.
It's only a 5-seconder though, not a 15 one though, Billy. Yeah. But it is a good track. Like I only did about 4 or 5 laps in practice, and no, just starting to get to grips with it. Very, very good.
No, it looked like a nice flowing second, as you say. Very interesting with the undulating.
First track we're hitting 6th gear in. Well, I'm hitting 6th gear in down the back straight. In the Ute. Takes a wee bit of pulling up from there. And also too in the simulator night, the VR one. It's something I've only driven once before, and they're all different. And the H pad in this one's quite loose, so you can actually pick a wrong gear quite easy.
We know that doesn't end well. We've seen that earlier on in the rounds.
No. I don't think there was any blown gearboxes in there that time.
So we're just waiting.
High, just over there in the States. I think Brendan might have been doing his homework on it, is he, no doubt? About
we did
2.4k course.
Yeah, we did have a wee look. So originally it was open 1962, was originally 3.8 Ks. The course was reconfigured slightly in 1990, taking it down to 3.6 Ks, which is the current layout. The fastest lap was set in 2016 by Willpower, doing a 105 lap in the Dallara IndyCar. So fastest here, I think we had is, I think Alex has done a 133 in practice. So we've now got the Tier 1 drivers just getting ready to come out.
Getting strapped in.
Getting strapped into their V8
just in the old meat
Utes.
and potatoes and making sure that you're all nice and comfy.
So obviously the tyres take a couple of laps to come up to temperature, Paul. We
Probably just one lap, because you're quite a long lap.
Yeah.
Couple of long straights and lots of corners. So one lap and pretty much comes on strong the second lap. But very cautious in the first lap. That's for sure. And
do you notice any drop off in the braking ability of the vehicles over there? No. So the brakes are all good.
I think that they're ABS, so you can put your foot right to the floor and not have to worry too much about a brake lock up, set probably in the rears.
Yep.
But they're just out there having a quick practice, and then we'll be into their qualifying session.
So you're looking forward to the endurance race later on this evening?
Should be pretty good. Yeah, I feel coming to grips with the track, not too bad. Still got a time in there. I think I did a 1:35, I think, and 1:36.8 in the previous race. I'm sure I did a 1:35 in that last one. So You know, if you look at Alex Sprague doing 133s, and he's a second quicker than everybody else, and yeah, still got a wee bit of time to find him.
Yeah.
Alex Sprague on screen there in the 56th of Milwaukee entry there, had 4 wins from 4 last week, and he needed a good round because he had a shocker first one, and was about third in points.
That's right. The first round he couldn't count to 5 of one of the races. He finished after lap 4, and then I think did he miss a gear change or something and did an engine in one of the other races.
Blew an engine or a gearbox or something, which doesn't help your cause.
No, so
it'll be interesting to see how many of these guys have been doing practice laps, been down here. Probably a good hour is what you need to really get to grips with it. And B2, happy birthday.
Oh, thanks, mate. This is the second birthday wish I've had, so yeah, just another orbit around the sun.
You managed to get leave passed away from any celebrations tonight?
Oh, going out tomorrow night. Yeah, my boy's working tonight, so I said I'll wait till he's not working and we'll go out for a feed.
Well, it worked in pretty good, didn't it?
Oh,
Right,
so where are we going for tea,
qualifying.
B2? Yeah, we'll get tomorrow night. When's tea? Austin's, is it? Austin's in Tamika. Good spot to go for a meal too. Mrs. Nichols and I do like the odd meal there. Anyway, we are watching the qualifying session for Tier 1. I must say, they're not doing a very good job at giving each other some clear space.
Yeah, there's a couple of them there pretty close together. I like trying to get a bit of air around. You know, I get a bit claustrophobic if someone's in front of me. I like having a bit of clear air.
You don't
And I actually found in that sim, I find it hard to read the gear changes because of the height of the steering wheel, so I don't know really what gear I'm in. It's right at the level of my, the wheel's sitting right at the level of where my gear shift is. So pretty hard to see, but first laps down, of course, that's your out lap, so 45, we'll see them come down. It's really the next lap we need to be looking at. But, yes, Braden Carroll, of course, he was the leader after round 1, and that strong week last week with Alex Sprague with those 4 wins, he's gone to the top of the points, and I think Braden Carroll's ducked down to second. And then Andrew Bruce, who's had pretty consistent couple of rounds, he's sitting there third in the points for the Tier 1. Round 3 from Mid-Ohio over there in the US of A. And quite a tricky wee track, as I say, with these downhill right-hand corners. This one here, you just got to get the thing around the corner, a bit of a blip, then around this one again, and it drops over the top of the hill again. That's very... we're on board with Johnny Small.
Yeah, you can see Johnny's very busy on the steering wheel, just trying to keep the ute balanced as the weight goes on and off the suspension as it's going over the crests.
Giving lots of wee inputs there, isn't he?
It certainly is. There we go. Giving it the jandle now.
Here and you can go through this corner on 4th. You get it nice and tight there and run around to the curb and then break down to 3rd and just take your time through this corner here till you get around the other side.
Waiting.
And then get it pointed and then you can sort of get on the power nice and early.
So
down the front straight. So first time laps in a 1:33.1 from Alex Sprague, a 34.1 from Billy Manson, 34.8 from Johnny Small and Andrew Bruce, a 35.7.
So as you say, nearly a second faster is Alex Sprague.
33.1. That's a pretty good effort first up from Alex. Probably have a couple of laps, couple of shots at it, but reasonably safe at the moment there, second out from Billy Manson.
There's still over 4 minutes to go in the 8-lap qualifying session for our Tier 1 competitors.
Yeah, so probably 4 or 5 flying laps, Brendan. Here's Alex there.
In the Milwaukee livery number 56 machine.
Oh, someone out in the grass. That was Billy Manson.
Yeah,
the
they're in
VB Ute.
The V Victoria bit of Holden.
He's gone back into the pits for a bit of a reset there. Chuck some fresh tyres on and see he comes out and have probably one time lap at it by the time he has an out lap.
Get the tyres out of the blankets and away we go.
Yeah, looks like we've got a problem there for Shane Edgar. His screen's gone blank. So
Oh no, that's the South Canterbury Removals Ute that you share with Shane. You'll be driving later on this evening, hopefully in the Enduro.
Yet to post the time too for Shane.
So
32.8 now from Alex.
That's faster than he's gone in practice.
So it's a 1.2 second gap at the moment from first to second for qualifying. Andrew Bruce sitting third. Johnny Small now down to fourth. And lots of grip on that black stuff there, Brendan. You don't want to get off that black stuff out the grey stuff. You notice the difference from the...
where they've resealed the circuit, it's a lot more traction.
That's right, yeah. And in fact, at the circuit in real life, they've actually concreted those parts of the track to try and give the track surface more life, because they were eating the tarmac up. They were tearing it up, so they've concreted through a lot of those high-speed porters. According to Wikipedia, Alex Sprague there still watching home. He's gone purple again in that first sector. 132.8.
He's just really taken the piss now, isn't he?
He certainly is. He can go and park it after the first couple of laps. But just trying to make a mark there is Alex Sprague. We know he's probably the fastest of all through any track here at HOSS. He seems to be in top of all the leaderboards.
Yeah, just waiting for Father Christmas to get him a Formula Ford, I think, Paul.
That's right.
Anyway, across the line he goes again.
Comes down to reel off another one. What does he do this time? Coming together there, Andrew Bruce and Johnny Small. Johnny in the HOSS entry tonight. Certainly something you don't want to see in qualifying is a bit of coming together. As you see in the background, there's a couple pretty close together. Shane Eager's gone green in the first sector. Of course, hasn't set a time yet.
So just over a minute left to go, so hopefully Shane Edgar can get round and put a good time on the board.
He might come round and if he's lucky and get a second lap in, but there's Johnny Small at 134.8, his fastest so far. Oh, and someone having a spin there.
Is that Nicholas McPherson? Is it in the Brembo machine?
Yes. So Nick down there in sixth at the moment with a 135.5. And Johnny Small there. Of course, Johnny's one of the real-life racers that does a lot of racing in real life. Former South Island endurance race winner. In fact, I think they won the championship a few years ago, the Small brothers. So Alex can pretty much park it. 1.2 seconds in the bank over Billy Manson. And even Billy Manson's got 17ths back to Andrew Bruce. And then she's pretty close from there on in. Johnny Small just a 10th behind Andrew Bruce here in fourth. Half a second break to Braden Carroll. And the old super sub Morgan Dorr down there in seventh.
So just waiting for the drivers to cross the line.
Their time is up, so they won't get another shot at it. Johnny Small jumps up to third at 134.5. Then Andrew Bruce comes back at him with 134.5 as well. So good stuff there. Not too sure if there's anyone else out there on a hot lap. Shane Eager just having a moment, so yet to post a competitive time. He'll start off the back row of the grid there in the South Canterbury Removals Utes. Alex Sprague, another pole position. Billy Manson second. And then Andrew Bruce, Johnny Small on the second row. 8-lap sprint race for them. And then we will turn it around and give them a reverse grid. Now we'll see who gets the jump off the line this time, Brendan. It's
well, we did have
it's a reaction time thing.
A non-starter virtually the race for the Tier 2 drivers. Bit of a chicane on the front straight. We'll see if everyone gets away cleanly.
Now you'll see the 6 discs up there. Here come the lights. Gotta wait for them to go out, pick first gear, and off we go. Pity we didn't have a bit of sound going in the background as we be revving the nuts out of these things trying to get them off the line. Really light the tyres up, and for, like I say, for the first lap, you're all bit of coming together there between Billy Manson and Andrew Bruce on the inside there on the Jim Beam. Manson trying to go around the outside. Who's that in the Gatorade car? I think that's Morgan Dorr, is it, getting out of shape? But it's going to be Sprague leads them up from... well, Billy Manson's dropped down to third, so... Not sure who's that up there to second. Here's Edgar up the inside of the Kmart entry.
So he's up to P5
from
the back of the grid, yeah, doing well.
He's gained to 3 spots already, has Shane Edgar.
So just look after that machine, Mr. Edgar. Mr. Lancaster wants to get into
low
it.
from Braden Carroll on the Kmart. He's going to have a wee dive up the inside. Hard on the brakes here at the end of the big long straight. 6th down to about 3rd. Another one of these downhill right-handers, then uphill and downhill again. And with these Utes being pretty light in the RCM, they can feel like they're going to come round on you quite easy. You see how everyone's just washing out around that corner. Still a lot of understeer with the cold tyres. If you have a look on the screens, you guys, all the tyres are still pretty much blue. A wee bit of green starting to sneak in. But still cold tyres for the V8 Utes here at Mid-Ohio. First lap for the Tier 1s for round 3. And Alex Sprague leading the way from Andrew Bruce in the Jim Beam entry. There he is, the Bonded, tucked in behind the VB entry of Billy Manson. And come across to reel off the first lap. Johnny Small sitting 4th from Edgar. So Edgar's the biggest mover on the first lap. On board with Billy Manson. Heading up the straight, up to the keyhole, up at the top here, a 180-degree corner that climbs up and then mid-corner drops away. Get your braking done and before you turn in. And be pretty patient around here till you can see a bit of that outside curb. And you'll see now that the tyre's still a wee bit blue there on the right-hand side of Shane Edgar's Ute at the completion of a lap and a half. So maybe 2 laps to get these things up to temperature. Here goes Kate Carroll again, having a dive down the inside of Edgar. Not close enough though. You don't really want to be in that inside line. You can lock your brakes up in that grey dirty stuff which we've seen someone do in the Tier 2, Brendan. So still Braden Carroll all over the back of him. Well, who's this having a wee look up the inside? Morgan Dorr having a look at McPherson, who gets a wee bit out of shape. And comes back across the track. These two at the back of the pack have their own little battle. This McPherson in the Brembo Ute. And the Gatorade Ute there is the super sub from last year. Morgan Dorr got a full-time drive this year. But Braden Carroll looking pretty racy. And we know Shane Edgar will be a pretty hard man to try and get past. Another downhill right-hander here. And then onto the front straight. Get to the end of the front straight here. Very fast left-hander. Pretty much just about flat out and forth. You want to take the gas off, just hit the brakes a bit to get the front turned in. And then get right out that curb and straight up the hill again. You just see from that shot there how steep it is coming up the hill. You go. Still got Carroll all over the back of him. And not too far up in front of those is Johnny Small there in the HOSS black and gold entry. He takes, as we've seen, running 3rd there, one wee spin and you're at the back of the pack, especially with these guys. It's not often you see the Tier 1 guys make a mistake though. He's on board with Braden Carroll. All over the back of Edgar, up over the top of the left-hander. Patient down here, give her a wee stab. And turn her in. And from about here, just about keep your foot flat, right over that curb, and then go over the brow of this hill and keep right, and then break in a straight line there, and then run around the corner, and you can accelerate just before you go over the top of that hill if you've got it straight enough. This is quite a cool wee corner too. 4th gear up here, momentarily off the gas, get it pointed in, and then down to 3rd, just rider down this downhill right-hander again as you see Shane Edgar putting all the pressure on the wheel on Johnny Small. Down the front straight, fastest lap of the race, a 32.5 Alex Sprague. He's clearing away out there in front from Andrew Bruce, who's doing a good job hanging on to 2nd from Billy Manson. Let's see him, you can see up in front. Uphill section now up towards the keyhole. And then hard on the brakes. Just hear the brakes squealing away there on the old Falcon. Tucked in behind that old piece of shit of a Ford up in front there with Johnny Small. He'll be looking in the rear view mirrors and getting an eyeful of that Holden of Shane Edgar. Ford of Shane Edgar. I shouldn't say Holden. Jesus Christ, have you heard me say that? Got Ford blood through and through, Shane Edgar. Through over the top, down through this section here, which I think they used to call Thunder Alley through here. They took a corner out of there years ago because it slowed the pace of the whole track up too much. Oh, who's that? Braden Carroll in the Kmart entry out in the grass.
Is Shane Edgar also losing it?
At the moment. Not going to lose a spot though. He'll lose a bit of ground. Here comes McPherson, who's found himself in 6th position already, and Braden Carroll's gone to the rear. That's just what I was saying. One wee mistake, and you can go mid-pack all the way to the back. So Sprague's cleared out by 3.6 seconds now. He must have had a shit lap on the last one, and he did a 33.4. He's heading up the hill towards Keyhole. Here's the battle for second. Here goes Manson having a wee dive up the inside on Bruce as they get into the braking zone there into Keyhole. Still got that inside line. He'll try and keep it there. And looks like he's got the job done there as Bruce runs wide. And he might try and get a bit of a toe down the back straight. Don't seem to get too much of a toe in these things. They're not really that aero at all. As we see Manson going defensive, staying over that right-hand side of the track. He's left the door open up the inside for Bruce, but she's pretty tricky. Corner to try and duck up the inside, that one. But Billy Manson up to second. Andrew Bruce back to third, but that's not over yet. Just over halfway distance for the 8-lap sprint race for Tier 1 for round 3 here at Mid-Ohio. Alex Sprague, the championship leader, out in front at the moment by about 4 seconds, doing it easy. Fastest lap of the race from him at 32.5. And just looking at the rest of the times, Manson a 33.5 last lap, same with Andrew Bruce. Johnny Small 34.4, and Edgar lost 5 odd seconds in that last lap with that spin, 1 minute 40, so pretty tough stuff. This is the battle at the rear with Nick McPherson in the red and white ute. There he is there in the Brembo ute. And now we've got Braden Carroll putting the pressure on Morgan Dorr, trying to get a sniff up the inside. Dorr getting her all out of shape, and goes into the side of him, Braden Carroll, but it didn't push him out in the grass at all, but definitely a good smack in the side. He would have felt that as he tried to take advantage of Dorr being out of all over the place in that corner previous. He might get a run up the hill here, but he's on the wrong side of the track. At least he can go around the outside. No, he's trying to go around the outside there, Braden Carroll. Still got his nose up the inside there. Here's Morgan Dorr. And it'll be a good wee drag down the back straight as Carroll loses a wee bit of momentum, getting the wheel out in the slippery stuff. Still side by side, the two of them. Carroll comes across in defence through the wee kink as they come into the hard braking zone and into the right-hander. Putting the pressure on. Carroll getting a wee bit out of shape, runs wide. Edgar's had a bit of a moment too, and just collects Carroll on the way through. So a wee bit of argy-bargy going on towards the rear there. But forget about the leader, he's long gone out in front, Alex Sprague. Good battle going on for second still, I think, between Bruce and Johnny Small. I think Billy Manson and Andrew Bruce, I should say. Here's the top 3 there. 4th place man in the background there in the black and gold Ford Falcon of Johnny Small. And there's the gold and black Jim Beam car of Andrew Bruce, sitting 3rd in the championship, so he'd be all about carrying those points through to the next round. Keeping it nice and tidy, these top guys. Not often you see a mistake. A long way out in front from the next 4 anyway. They're still heading up the hill. These guys are all heading down the hill. Another hard braking zone here. Downhill right-hander. Good graphics, aren't they, on the Utes? You see all the brake discs glowing red. So not much between the two of them. A couple of locals here, these two have spent a lot of time down here, Billy Manson and Andrew Bruce. Here goes Braden Carroll trying to get through on Morgan Dorr, who just runs a wee bit wide, gets a wheel out in the grass. Braden Carroll tries to have a look up the inside. And Morgan Dorr, once again, a lot of understeer, running wide, leaving the door open for Carroll, but he just hasn't got the oomph to get past. Down through Thunder Alley. Down into this tricky braking zone here. Just dives away as you're hitting the brakes. And then you've got Edgar just in the back shot there on the South Canterbury Removals Falcon, trying to make amends back there in 8th place. Down the front straight they go against the leaders on the final lap. Alex Sprague. So if we catch up with him and see where he is. Oh, Braden Carroll out into the tyres. That's a big tank slapper, that one. Obviously that the damage isn't on too much tonight. I don't know what the damage is sitting at, Hamish, for these guys. 20%. So even a big hit like that, you'd expect to feel something. Yeah, so just the HOSS boss just saying they've kept the damage at 20%, just to give the gearboxes a bit more life. Nothing worse than getting into 3/4 into a race and the old gearbox goes. Just from a missed gear change, that's all it takes. Now there's on board there, well not on board, but that's the leader there, Alex Sprague in the number 56 Milwaukee Ford Falcon, coming down to take another race win. That's 5 on the trot for him, and a 32.5 again on his last lap. Second's going to be Billy Manson, good points for him as he comes across the line. And then Andrew Bruce, good points also for him. As you've got to remember that Billy Manson, where's he? 4th in the championship at the moment. And coming back to Nick McPherson, who's going to probably get his best finish of the competition so far with a 5th. Back to this battle here, Morgan Dorr and Shane Edgar. And Morgan Dorr just hangs on to that. Braden Carroll's going to come through. And that's a shocker of a race for him, sitting 2nd in the points overall. He's going to come through and take 8th place. So what do you make of that, Brendan? Good drive once again from young Alex.
Well, he just drove away from the field, didn't he? Qualified fastest and put on fastest lap after fastest lap. Stayed out of trouble. But good dice there between Billy Manson and Andrew Bruce for 2nd and 3rd.
Rightio, we will reverse them up. It will be, who's going to be off the front row? It'll be a bit hard to tell with that spectator there, but I'd say Braden Carroll will be off the front with Shane Edgar. And then Morgan Dorr, Nick McPherson, Johnny Small, Andrew Bruce, and off the back once again Billy Manson and young Alex Sprague. We'll see how Alex goes this time. He started off the back last week. He was up to 4th place by about the 3rd turn. So lights, waiting on the lights out. Away they go. Pick a gear. Hard getting these big tanks off the line, especially with the cold tyres. Into 2nd gear, into 3rd. Probably just hit 4th before you turn in here. 3 wide at the back there with Alex Sprague trying to go around the outside of Andrew Bruce. Bit of a slide on, but he's going to get Bruce. He may get Manson as well. In fact, I don't think he will. He's trying to go around the outside, but looks like it's going to be Edgar leads him into the keyhole for the first time from Carroll. Then it's back to Morgan Dorr. Nick McPherson's going to go down a couple. Here is Johnny Small ducks up the inside. Billy Manson goes with him, and she's a drag race down the back straight. As I was saying, it's the first round of hook 6 gear in the Falcon down this big long straight, and then she's hard on the brakes for this right-hand downhill turn. Very, very tricky indeed, especially first lap. There's Manson there trying to have a wee look up the inside of Sprague. Here comes Bruce trying to go around the outside of Manson. But still line of stern there between those three. But it's still Edgar from Door, from Johnny Small. Alex Sprague up to 4th place already, halfway through the first lap. Hard on the back of Johnny Small. And who's that? Getting out of shape. Braden Carroll's gone down a couple from that second spot. It's opened up a bit of a gap there for Shane Edgar if he can keep it nice and tidy out in front. And Morgan Dorr might be able to hold a few of them up for him. It is quite a hard track to pass on, Brendan, if you can just keep the inside line through most of it and then get a good run onto the 2 straights. Then if you don't make a mistake, it's pretty hard to get through. As Edgar leads them across the line. First time from Johnny Small. Braden Carroll's gone back a spot. Then it's Alex Sprague still in 4th from Manson. Bruce. Nick McPherson at the back of the pack as they head up the hill for the second lap. Morgan Dorr doing a good job in second place. Johnny Small just pulled in that inside line there, been a wee bit defensive. Knows he's got Alex Sprague tucked in behind him. Sprague looks like he might have a run this time on Braden Carroll. In fact, he's got the job done already, I think. A bit of a fuck's sake coming from the background there from one of them. Not too sure who that was. It might have been Billy Manson, in fact, as he's dropped down to 6th place from that 4th place he was. And no doubt there'll be a few of them a bit later on tonight as we see Alex Sprague go around the outside of Braden Carroll over the top of the hill, down to the right-hander, then up to 4th place. Alex Sprague. Carroll still tucked in behind him, but it's still Edgar from Door, from Johnny Small. So Door doing a good job at the moment, just trying to slow these guys up and behind. You'll see it. Johnny Small looking pretty racy, right on the back bumper. Might have been a wee touch there. Just let them know he's in behind. And you'll see he's definitely a lot faster there. As now Johnny Small's got Alex Sprague tucked in behind him. Then it's Carroll, Manson, Andrew Bruce. So she's a big lineup of the superstars here from about 2nd place backwards. There's Morgan Dorr still hanging on. But Johnny Small's left the door open a bit there for Alex Sprague. Getting a bit of a slide on, but still hanging on to that 3rd place. And you'll see him being defensive on that right-hand run up the hill. Just trying to keep that inside line sort of where you want to be, as long as you don't get understeer and push anyone out of the way like Morgan Dorr. Morgan Dorr comes across, a bit of a tank slapper into the side of Alex Sprague, but Sprague's got through up to 3rd. So there he's got Johnny Small, who will probably be a bit harder to get through on. Battle's still going on down through the pack. Look at this, 3 wide. It's not going to go too good there, but managed to get it back onto the track there. Braden Carroll did a good job not to lose it. But 3 wide down the back straight. Morgan Dorr into the side of Andrew Bruce. He won't like that too much. Then Morgan Dorr into the side of Braden Carroll. So there's a bit of rubbing going on between those ones towards the back.
So that was a pucker up moment there for Braden Carroll, and while all this is going on,
you have to
Mr. Edgar,
you have to get the plunger out to push it back in when the race is done.
Mr. Edgar is just moving
Carroll
away,
getting all out of shape.
in the South Canterbury Removals vehicle. He's not under any pressure, but now Alex Sprague is on the hunt.
That's right. He's got 5 laps to catch up to him. So Johnny Small back down to 3rd and coming into the clutches of Billy Manson in the VB number 24. Morgan Dorr gone to 2nd down to 5th in the space of half a lap. Fastest lap of the race, a 33.6, Alex Sprague. And a bit of clear air in front of him now. We should see him really start to bring those times down into the 32s, no doubt. So still Shane Edgar out in front.
So Braden Carroll's still getting a bit loose there in the background on the Kmart machine.
Johnny Small now with a bit of a touch with Billy Manson, who had a wee look up the inside there. No harm done though, just letting Johnny know that he's there and he's going to have a go if the gate's open. Now, he might have lost a bit of momentum there in Billy Manson, but he'll get back on top of it. Good battle going in behind those guys too, with Morgan Dorr. Got Andrew Bruce all over the back of him. And at the back it's Nick McPherson on board with Morgan Dorr, looking back at Andrew Bruce. Great shots out the back of the Falcon. Getting a wee bit out of shape there, but they get a wee bit light in the arse end on these downhill corners. There's still Edgar though out in front. Quite a fast wee corner this one. You'll see the two different lines there. Andrew Bruce a bit more racier there, getting a wheel up on the ripple strip. Doors, gates open a wee bit there momentarily, then across comes the door. Pretty hard to try and get past from behind. As we see Billy Manson now all over the back of Johnny Small. She might all be on up the top of the hill this time. As is Andrew Bruce, as Morgan Dorr goes wide, gets her out. Just high and wide on the ripple strip. And that's allowed Andrew Bruce up the inside. And he likes a bit of up the inside, does Andrew Bruce. So his wife tells me. So, Alex Sprague, just a couple of seconds now before he gets on the back of Shane Edgar. 32.7 last time from Alex Sprague, so a good second or so faster. Edgar's another one of these guys who knows how to defend pretty good. He's had a few seasons in 2K Cup. And in fact had a real big doozer of a crash, didn't he, there about season 2, I think, of the 2K Cup. He wrote Nathan Kippenbergen's car off for him. It's probably still parked in a paddock somewhere as a bit of a memento. But doing a good job at the moment out in front, but coming under all the pressure in the world from Alex Sprague, looking to make it 6 out of 6 on the trot. Only a couple of 3 Ute leads between the two of them. This battle here is for 3rd and 4th. Johnny Small in the HOSS black and gold Ute with the VB Ute of Billy Manson tucked in behind, trying to get some points. So up the hill they go again. There we go. The leaders, Shane Edgar in the white and green Ute. Here goes Alex in the Milwaukee 56. Sliding it around the corner, Alex. Trying to hug that inside line onto the back straight. Then she's a bit of a picnic down here. Reach over and grab a sandwich or a can, or if you pull Latu, probably roll a durry on the way down the back straight. Get ready for in between. And downhill right-hander. You just see on board just the ups and downs of it. Quite steep downhill section here. Patient through here. And you can ride this curve quite nicely and keep it to the right going over here, as you'll see Alex do. Then hard on the brakes, and then you can carry some good speed round through here as Edgar goes a wee bit wide, just leaves the gate open a wee bit. Sprague got a bit of a run. He might try and have a look up the inside as he comes up the hill. He's going to have a wee sniff, but no way through. Edgar's just keeping his nose in front. And a wee bit of oversteer there mid-corner for Edgar as we come back around to reel off another one. So, a couple of laps left to go for Alex. So Edgar's going to have to be defensive for 2 laps. Can he do it? Up the hill they go again. Looks like he's got a wee bit more speed on him this time as they go up the hill, Alex Sprague. But comes across defensive, does Shane Edgar. Up towards the keyhole. He might try and go around the outside, does Alex. Late braking. But, just a bit wee touch between the two of them as Edgar slid around the exit of the corner. Still going on in the background there as Andrew Bruce is starting to get on the back of that 3rd and 4th place battle. But here goes Sprague. Tries to go around the outside as we come down to that heavy braking zone. With the Edgar, the inside line. Can he keep it together? Yeah, there's Shane Edgar. So pretty good at the moment. She's hard to pass through these next couple of sections, especially if you've got the right of way there out in front as we see him slide it out wide. Shane Edgar looking pretty racy as Alex, but there's just no way through unless you really get a big slide going on in the back. Up over the top. Both of them getting a bit of a slide going on through this quick wee kink up to 4th gear. He's had to button out of it a wee bit there, Alex, off the accelerator. And pretty tight to try and get through here. He's keeping it nice and tight. This is Shane Edgar. He's going to get the last lap board this time as they come round through the left-hander onto the front straight. And the last lap board out. So he got 1 lap to go. Shane Edgar to take will be his first win of the Season 3 Championship. Alex Sprague trying to make it 6 out of 6, but at the moment got his work cut out. As Edgar heads up towards the keyhole. Hard on the brakes. Try and go around the outside again, does young Alex. See, he's keeping it on that black stuff, which is where all the grip is. Oh, he might even run on him this time down the back straight as Edgar gets a wee bit of a slide going on, getting the power down. And he's got his nose up the inside as Edgar's going to try and push him out wide as they come down through the kink. Still got his nose in front of Edgar, but it's going to come down to the braking. I think Alex Sprague's got the job done as he goes Edgar, trying to go with him around the outside. If he can keep that inside line, he's got the right run into the next corner if he can keep it there. Up over the top of the right-handers, they drop down the hill. Looks like Alex got the job done. Got the inside line for the next corner. And Edgar's going to have to concede as they come back over the top of the hill when it gets a slide going on, and that's it, game over. He's going to have to sit there for second. Johnny Small still hanging on to third place over Billy Manson. And Andrew Bruce not too far in behind there as well. Sitting there in that 5th place. So Alex Sprague, he's going to not too far away now from taking win number 6 on the trot for the Tier 1s for round 3 here at Mid-Ohio. And here he comes, takes the race win, Alex. And a good second for Shane Edgar too. He'll be pretty stoked with that. Johnny Small 3rd, Billy Manson 4th, Andrew Bruce 5th. Then Braden Carroll comes through in the Kmart Holden. And then we go back to Nick McPherson. And then Morgan Dorr, who ran second there for first couple of 3 laps, will come through there in 8th place. So great stuff. Once again, though, it's the young pocket rocket. Alex Sprague takes the win. For comments on that B1 and B2.
Well, there we go. Shane Edgar was just congratulating Alex Sprague there on a fine drive, a good win.
Yes, some kind words there in the background going on.
But good race. Well driven there from Alex Sprague. He didn't really need to take any risks because he is well ahead in the championship. As Paul said, he had 5 wins in a row. So just bided his time, took his moment, took 3 or 4 corners to line him up.
Even at the end there, the two of them raced pretty cleanly, to be fair, like side by side through a number of corners. And in the end, Alex Sprague just getting that move done.
So good job, Alex Sprague. That'll allow him to extend his lead in the Tier 1 Championship. Okay. 32 lap enduro coming up, so we'll have a 5-minute break and then we'll come back to you for the big endurance race for this evening. 32 laps of the Mid-Ohio circuit. Round 2 for the enduros. We'll catch up soon. Welcome back to Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course, 3.6 Ks, and we've got the qualifying session for our 32 lap enduro round. So the driver that qualifies the car will start the race. The pit window is lap 14 to 18. So we'll see from a strategy perspective who's going to start, who's going to be the... Okay, so it's all Tier 2 drivers starting this evening. We'll have the Hares and the Hounds.
So as we've talked about a couple of weeks ago, Brendan, it's the fastest Tier 1 driver with the this number 8 or number 9 Tier 2 driver paired up to try and keep things even, and 2nd and 7th and 3rd and 6th and so on and so forth.
So Billy Rowley said it is all the Tier 2 drivers that are going to qualify and start the race. The 32 lap enduro at Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course.
Well, that could make the start interesting at that second corner. As we know, sometimes the Tier 2 drivers can get themselves into a bit of carnage.
A little bit more excited, aren't they?
Faster corners, yeah.
And of course we've had trouble this evening with the HOSS machine getting off the line in one of the sprint rounds, so they'll be looking forward to a better start. So we've got the Nicholas McPherson, Dylan Dalrymple car just crossing the line at 1:44, but they've just come out of the pits. This is their first lap, getting up to speed. So Paul Lancaster did tell us earlier this evening that unlike some of the shorter circuits which might take a lap or two to get the tyres within the operating window, he thinks that after lap 2 you can give it the jandle.
So what you can't see on the screen, and you can see on the simulator screen, is the tyre heat. There's a little, I guess it's like a little screen within a screen down the bottom corner of each of the simulators, and they tell you how much heat is in the tyres. So it does change from blue to green as the heat goes into the tyres. Normally sort of a lap or a lap and a half in on this track.
And then red if you're giving it...
red if you're just giving it death.
Giving it death. But anyway, we are a couple of minutes into our qualifying session for our enduro round. Riding on board with Dylan Dalrymple in the Brembo Falcon. Dylan had 2 wins from 2 starts in the sprint races earlier this evening. So
Paul Lancaster there, purple time in his first split there.
So there we go, 1:35.7. First hot lap for Dylan Dalrymple in the Brembo machine. Let's see if he can do anything better. He was the fastest in the sprint races. Well, there's the Adam Bell, Braden Carroll Kmart machine. He's had a little trip out into the scenery. Just coming out of the S's onto the front straight. Gets it going again. So Hamish did tell us earlier on this evening he's got the damage dialed down quite low, so these machines have a better chance of getting to the end of the race. The first round we did have a blown engine and gearbox or two. So on board with the Johnny Small, James Swaney HOSS Ford Falcon. So there
fastest first sector again for the McPherson Dalrymple Ute, being driven by Dylan Dalrymple at this present time.
Although fastest first sector for Dallas Redhead in the Morgandore Dallas Redhead entered machine. But all eyes currently on Dylan Dalrymple, winner for race 1 and race 2 this evening for the Tier 2 drivers. He's going through the S's on to the front straight. Will cross the start-finish line once again. 1:35.7 was his first effort. 1:35.2. So who's going to take a shot at that? Got 136 is there for the Paul Lancaster.
Purple sector there for Johnny Smallwater, so James Swaney and the P8 Ute down there at the moment. Let's just see how they go. Yet to post a fast lap, green second sector. I'm sure they'll be wanting to take some time off that time that's been posted.
So Johnny Small, James Swaney go to the top on a 135.0 and then get a little bit loose through the big left-hand sweeper. They don't make the corner, they're out in the kiddie litter. So watching the Andrew Bruce, Jimmy Carroll, Jim Beam bonded Falcon. They're on a 138.0 and they've got 3 seconds to find if they want to get on the front row.
So that'll be Jimmy Carroll behind the wheel there in that one, and we think he might have had a couple of shots of Jim Beam bonded before he started the last couple of races. He's had a couple of off-track excursions. Let's hope he can post a reasonable time for the endurance race.
But just over a minute and a half left to go for the qualifying session for our 32-lap enduro at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. Just watching Jimmy Carroll in the Jim Beam bonded machine. Gets out into the grass, has to lift off, so this isn't going to be a good lap. Round he goes once again. Just looking down the road, we can see is that the Victoria Bitter machine? No, that looks like a Cookie Monster and Elmo.
Yes, the Sesame Street Gatorade machine.
This gets a little bit taily coming onto the big back straight at Mid-Ohio. Kink in the middle of it. As Paul Lancaster said, it's the first time this season he's been able to pluck 6th gear in the South Canterbury Removals machine he shares with Shane Edgar.
Yeah, he was saying he felt quite comfortable around this track.
Yes, so they are 3rd on the leaderboard as the clock kicks down.
4th now. Just been a position change there.
So
look at this P2 at the moment. Dylan Dalrymple, 2 purple sectors. Can he? And of course now they've just leapt to the top of the leaderboard, 134.7.
So good time there for Dylan Dalrymple and the Brembo Falcon. So just looking at Nathan Kippenberger there in the VB machine. 3rd fastest till they cross the line. Do they do anything better? Yes, they do. They go up to P2. A 135.0. Johnny Small, James Swaney P3. Shane Edgar, Paul Lancaster P4. So that looks like the end of our session. So that's all the Tier 2 drivers. They're going to start the 32-lap enduro this evening, coming to you from the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course.
So it'll be Dylan
Dalrymple, is it Nathan Kippenberger should be on the front row. Then we go back to the machine of James Swaney, Paul Lancaster starting out of P4, Dallas Redhead, Adam Bell, and then on the back row Jimmy Carroll, Paul Artu. Lights are on, and away we go. Well, off the line they go. Oh, the Jim Beam bonded machine doesn't get off the line. Also looks like the white machine there. What's that? The Kmart.
It's the Kmart car
machine,
out in
Adam
the
Bell,
dirt,
there.
four wide.
Doesn't launch either. Dylan Dalrymple though, he gets a good drive off the line.
So it's not that corner that catches them out, it's this one. Let's just see if they can all get round here safely. We had a bit of carnage last race.
Yeah.
Looks like they're going to do it.
That's right. Remember, it's not a sprint race, gentlemen. You've got plenty of time to get that position. Keep it tidy. So Dallas Dimple is going to lead them down the long back straight for the first time in our 32-lap enduro. James Swaney chasing him in the HOSS machine, but all the action is for third, fourth, fifth.
Yeah, we've got a hit there.
So
and another one.
So Paul Lancaster manages to get up to P3 there. We'll say he wasn't involved in the first incident, may have had a part to play in incident number 2. But he's got the Nathan Kippenberger Victoria Bitter machine on his tail. That's for third and fourth. Then we go back to Adam Bell in the Kmart Holden. Then it's a long way back down the road to Paul Artu, Jimmy Carroll, Dallas Redhead.
Yeah, Dallas Redhead, the big loser out of all of that, dropping 5 positions. I can see Morgan Dawes sitting beside me with a suitably impressed look on his face.
So Dylan Dalrymple goes through across the line to lead the first lap from James Swaney and Paul Lancaster. Nathan Kippenberger goes through, as does Adam Bell, Paul Artu. Waiting for the Jim Beam bonded machine to cross the line. Jimmy Carroll and Dallas Redhead goes through P8. But we are looking at James Swaney trying to hunt down Dylan Dalrymple for first place on lap 2.
Yeah, in the field reasonably spread out after only one lap. Dylan Dalrymple and James Swaney just skipping off into the distance somewhat.
Yeah, nothing much happening as they come down the back straight into the braking zone, although saying that Adam Bell goes through on the inside. Makes a very clean manoeuvre there on Nathan Kippenberger and the VB machine.
Yeah, Kippenberger not giving up though. He's got to be careful just not to give him a wee tap there, but looks like Adam Bell's got the job done.
Nathan
Or have I spoken
Kippenberger
too
on the
soon?
inside, yeah. Goes through on the
back up.
right-hander. He wants that position back and he takes it. Pushes Adam Bell back to P5. Just up the rise they go into the braking zone. Wide left-hander. Onto the front straight they go to start lap 3.
Adam Bell not letting Kippenberger disappear down the track on him. Sticking tight on his bumper. Hoping to force a little mistake there.
So there is a braking opportunity as they climb the hill there. So Dylan Dalrymple just half a second up the road. And James Swaney in the HOSS Ford Falcon.
So just looking at James Swaney at the moment there, looking forward towards Dylan Dalrymple, who is about half a second up the track.
Yeah, so 3.5 seconds back to Paul Lancaster and Nathan Kippenberger. James Swaney just getting a little bit loose there in the HOSS machine.
And again.
Yeah, it just takes a bit of pressure off Dylan Dalrymple and the Brembo Falcon. And looking back to Paul Lancaster and Nathan Kippenberger, P3, P4, as they head round on lap 3.
So there has been a bit of a position change there. Paul Lancaster's had a bit of a moment. He's dropped a couple of spots.
It's all right, we've got Shane Edgar sitting beside us here, giving Paul some
you may have
encouragement.
heard that in the background. Shane Edgar.
Oh, there we go. Thank you very much, Mr. Bruce. We'll take that position back, says Paul Lancaster on the South Canterbury Removals Falcon. So a 1:35.44 race leader, Dylan Dalrymple on the Brembo machine. Then James Swaney, Nathan Kippenberger and the Victoria Bitter Holden. There he goes. P3. He's 5 seconds in arrears though of James Swaney and the HOSS machine. He just goes out of shot, just through the right hand kink on the big back straight.
Rest of the field pretty well spread out now. You look at the timing gaps there, all relatively even.
So there they go. On lap 4 is Nathan Kippenberger and the Victoria Bitter Holden. He'll be handing it over to Billy Manson later on in the race. So there's the number 56 Milwaukee machine that Paul Latu shares with Alex Sprague.
So Adam Bell now just on the back bumper of the Milwaukee machine. Not letting them get away. James Swaney there.
He's had a
bit of a moment. He's dropped himself a position. That allows Kippenberger to slot up into the second spot.
Yeah, we didn't see that happen, so we're not sure whether that was all James Swaney's own doing or whether he may have been assisted from Nathan Kippenberger.
Well, there was a fair gap between them, so I'm just not thinking he may have done it on his own, but I'm sure there maybe a look at that later on.
So there we go, short straight up the hill through the right-hander goes James Swaney and the HOSS Falcon. Rides it out to the ripple strip. Then down the long back straight here at Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. Got the wee right hand kink. Keeps it pegged in top gear. Then into the heavy braking zone, into the right hander. Keeps it tidy, does James Swaney. So there is the P2 machine. Just Nathan Kippenberger getting a little bit light there in the VB Holden.
Yeah, some 6.5 seconds in arrears to Dylan Dalrymple. So
yeah,
here we are back with the Adam Bell Paul Latu battle. Still rages on. Adam Bell still not letting Latu get away on him. Just making sure he's still in the mirrors of Latu. Keep that psychological pressure on.
Yeah, another fastest lap for race leader.
Saying that, I've now just put the mockers on him.
And then Bell loops it round, lets Dallas Redhead through. There's Paul Lancaster and the South Canterbury Removals machine. He's in pursuit of James Swaney. And Paul Latu there in the background in the Milwaukee machine. But he'll be handing over to Alex Sprague when they go through their pit stops. Pit stop window, lap 14 to 18. Out of lap 32 this evening. So there's Paul just through the right hand kink in the South Canterbury Removals Falcon Ute into the heavy braking zone, then goes through the infield part of the circuit, uphill and down dale. Oh, the VB machine there's had a moment.
That's Kippenberger.
Yeah, he drops back to P4. Didn't hear any language though.
No, I did see a fist pump in the background.
So Shane Edgar looks on as Paul Lancaster takes the South Canterbury Removals machine up to P3. He's got a wee way to go up the road there to hook onto the back of James Swaney and the HOSS machine. Through the S's they go to start lap 8 out of 32, Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. Just looking back to Paul Latu there.
Paul Lancaster posting his fastest lap of the race so far, 1:36. He reckoned he had a bit more time left in him after that last race.
Paul did say he'd only done a few laps this evening, so he hasn't been down practicing the week, or allegedly.
No, surely he'd be hard at work.
That's right. That's what he tells Sean Breen anyway. Into the hard braking zone once again. Paul Lancaster. Nathan Kippenberger on his tail and the Victoria Bitter Holden. Into the infield part of the circuit they go, uphill and down Dale.
That gap just closing up. Of course, that lap time that's posted on at the moment there for Nathan Kippenberger is not indicative of what he's actually doing. He did have a moment, dropped a position. Oh, jeepers! Taking the short line through there.
So another fastest lap there too. Dylan Dalrymple, 1:34.9. Paul Lancaster has a moment, all of his own doing, that allows Nathan Kippenberger to get on his bumper as they go through the S's to come over the front straight and start lap 8. So 15 odd second lead there too. Dylan Dalrymple in the Brembo machine over James Swaney in the HOSS Falcon. You can just see that heading up to the right-handed along the short straight. But all the action at the moment is Nathan Kippenberger all over the back of Paul Lancaster.
What's for the dive? Is there going to be a tap? No, backs out of it.
Yeah, the driver standards official looking on very closely at this battle. We wouldn't want any notorious actions to impact on the outcome.
We did see it last time around. There was some 15-second penalties dished out, which did affect the outcome of the minor positions.
Yep. Nathan Kippenberger still all over the back of the South Canterbury Removals Falcon Ute.
So I can see Paul Lancaster's rear view mirror from here. You can see the headlights ablaze on Kippenberger's Ute. Just gets a little sideways there, does Kippenberger.
So another fastest lap, Dylan Dalrymple. 1:34.239.
Lancaster getting a bit loose there. That's allowed Kippenberger up the inside. Is he going to make it stack? Lancaster not giving it up easily, but it looks like Kippenberger's got his nose in front.
So Nathan Kippenberger takes P3 before they start lap 10. Or lap 9, I should say. I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself through the very fast left-hand sweeper. Got the short straight uphill. Don't think this battle's anywhere near from over.
No.
So just a tighter line there for Paul Lancaster. Oh, gets a little bit taily coming onto the big back straight. That means he's going to lose a little bit of drive.
Yeah, that's cost him a bit of time.
Down they go through the right hand kink for the Victoria Bitter Holden. So that's given him a dozen car lengths. Oh.
Johnny Small. Not Johnny Small.
James
Swaney, I beg your pardon.
Through goes Kippenberger.
Got Shane Edgar clapping in the background. Fist pumps and now claps. He's a happy camper.
That's some good sportsmanship there from one of the fellow competitors. Paul Palatu, who also had
full action this lap.
Yeah, was that an unsafe entry to the track perhaps? Absolutely it was, says the driving standards officiator. All right.
Billy Rowley working overtime this lap.
His eyes are everywhere. So Paul Lancaster back into P3 in the South Canterbury Removals Falcon. Oh, Kippenberger's gone off of his own accord.
So Lancaster now up into P2.
Well, that's a hand-rubbing moment for Shane Edgar, that one.
Should we have a sweepstake on what the next gesture's going to be?
Yeah. So through the fast left-hand sweeper goes Paul Lancaster in the South Canterbury Removals Falcon. He's in P2, but 27 seconds in arrears. Dylan Dalrymple's setting the pace in the Brembo machine, as he was in the sprint races earlier this evening.
So here we are back with Kippenberger again. No, we're not. We're back with Johnny Small. The James Swaney, Johnny Small entry in the HOSS Motorsport Ute.
Yeah, so that's allowed them to close up significantly on Nathan Kippenberger, who had that big moment coming into the S's before the front straight here at Mid-Ohio. So through they go, third, fourth, and it is James Swaney in the HOSS machine in P5. Just behind him's Adam Bell. Oh, Adam has another moment in the Kmart Racing Holden. That's going to let through Jimmy Carroll in the Jim Beam Bonded machine. Pushing Adam Bell back to 7th. The Ute will be sharing with Braden Carroll. Looking a bit racy there.
Yeah, Swaney.
James Swaney. All over the back of Dallas Redhead. And our Sesame Street racer. Just running through the infield part of the circuit. Gets a little bit loose.
Redhead
there,
getting a bit loose there.
Yeah. Will that allow James Swaney to get a run across the front straight? Though we haven't seen any exciting passing manoeuvres coming off the front straight, but we might be about to.
Well, he's on the right side of the track. He's going to sneak up the inside and get the move done.
It was a bump and run, but that worked for James Swaney in the HOSS machine. Takes the position as they head uphill into the right-hander.
So some distance now up ahead of him is Nathan Kippenberger.
Yeah, nearly 5 seconds up the road is the Victoria Bitter Holden. They're holding down P3. 5 seconds in arrears of the South Canterbury Removals machine driven by Paul Lancaster and shared with Shane Edgar. On lap 11, so we've got 3 laps to go till we enter our pit stop windows between lap 14 and 18. The Tier 2 drivers will hand over to the Tier 1 Terrors. See if they can have an influence on the race. But as it sits now on lap 12, very handy lead to Dylan Dalrymple in the Brembo Falcon. Still focusing on James Swaney, Dallas Redhead there in the Sesame Street Rocket.
Swaney just starting to open that gap up over Dallas Redhead over the last half or 3/4 of a lap.
So through the S's onto the front straight goes James Swaney, 1:35.8. Fastest lap though is race leader Dylan Dalrymple on a 1:34.8.
Oh, Swaney getting pretty loose there. Does well to drag it back in again.
So there is Dylan Dalrymple on lap 12. Having a rather lonely time at the Mid-Ohio sports car course.
That lead now, 30 seconds?
Yeah, and then 5 seconds further back from Paul Lancaster to Nathan Kippenberger. Another 5 seconds back to James Swaney. A little bit closer after that though. So through the S's coming onto the front straight once again is race leader Dylan Dalrymple in the Brembo Falcon. There's a 1:35.2. Not under any pressure. Just needs to do another couple of laps before he hands over to Nicholas McPherson. Then it'll be job done this evening for Dylan Dalrymple.
He's had an excellent evening, really. There's Dylan Dalrymple. He'd be very happy with the way he's driven.
Yeah, dominated the sprint races for the Tier 2 drivers. So far making a mark on the 32 lap enduro. So through the right hand kink, then into the hard braking zone. Down 3 gears, turns in. Feeding in the power.
That lead slowly but surely extending as well. Out to 32.5 seconds now.
So see Shane Edgar now just getting ready for a pit stop. And they'll be soon entering the pit stop window, lap 14 to 18. Don't think Dylan Dalrymple will want to get out though, will he?
No. He's just certainly in the groove. So We see the rest of the Tier 1 drivers just starting to make their way to the backs of their respective sims, ready for that driver changeover in the next few laps.
So there we go, lap 14 starts for Dylan Dalrymple. He'll be pitting and handing over to Nicholas McPherson. And we can just see on the other side of the loop there, that's Paul Artu in the Milwaukee machine, that he will be handing over to Alex Sprague. So they're a long way in arrears, 72 seconds off the lead.
An awful lot of work to do for Alex.
Yeah, he'll be earning his keep this evening in the Enduro round. As Dylan Dalrymple once again down the big back straight into the heavy braking zone.
Well, I wouldn't mind betting he sort of stays in there till about lap 16, 17, the way he's driving.
Just got to keep it tight.
.35 seconds now, that lead.
So on the brakes, on the ripple strip. Here we go once again. Through the sweeper onto the front straight. He's going to start another lap. Lap 15 for Dylan Dalrymple, leading our 32 lap enduro. Lovely day mid-Ohio, 23 degrees, 27 degrees surface temperature. Down the back straight once again. All on his own. Some 37-second lead now, just driving away from the field. Shane Edgar, Paul Lancaster machine currently piloted by Paul Lancaster. It's sitting in P2.
I can see Paul Latu just over to our left here. Brendan's just had a off-track excursion down the back of the field.
We can still see him, he's still busy all over the steering wheel.
He's just re-entered the track, so...
There we go, there is Paul Latu. He's about to go a lap down from Dylan Dalrymple. Dylan just sits in there. Just to find a nice safe place to pass. He's under no pressure as he about to put Paul Latu a lap down. Through the S's onto the front straight. Paul Latu will start lap 16 as Dallas starts. One more. There we go. Just hangs around the inside. Doesn't pull the pass off yet. So we've got a box call behind us. So Latu just keeps the Milwaukee machine tight on the inside line. Down the back straight they go. Dylan Dalrymple moves to the inside through the kink. Should pull it up under braking. He doesn't want to take any risks though. Alright, so we've got our first driver changes going on. Nathan Kippenberger and Paul Lancaster pull into the pits. Paul Lancaster gets out. Job done for him. Hands over in a good position. Shane Edgar straps in. Billy Manson getting in the Victoria Bitter machine. We've also got James Swaney in the pits. He's handing over to Johnny Small for the HOSS machine. So Shane Edgar heads out onto the pits. A little bit disconcerting when you see that shot, isn't it?
When they go straight through them. Yeah, it's a bit unusual.
So Johnny Small, he gets the HOSS machine out off pit lane. He heads off up the hill. What can he do?
It's going to take a couple of laps just to for everyone to sort themselves back out again after those pit stops.
So still on between the South Canterbury Removals and Victoria Bitter Machine. They've just handed over to their number one drivers, and the race is still on. So not really going to have time to sort of settle themselves in.
No. And saying that, we've just had Paul Lancaster and Nathan Kippenberger had a wee chat behind us and said how much they enjoyed that race, racing each other. So that's what we like to see.
Yeah, some good clean racing. So still waiting for Dylan Dalrymple to bring the Brembo machine into the pits so he can hand over to Nicholas McPherson, but he's done a sterling job getting a very handy lead over the rest of the Tier 1 drivers.
Yes, it did say that he would probably be until the very last available lap.
So that's the first lap on the board for Shane Edgar and Billy Manson. In P2 and P3. So they've done their pit stops and driver handover.
Yeah, it's Braden Carroll Adam Bell swapping out for Braden Carroll just in the pits there at the moment. And here comes the Brembo machine into the pits now for their driver change. Excellent drive by Dylan Dalrymple. We'll hand the reins over to Nick McPherson.
So let's see what Nick can do with that. So looking for a nice clean drive over change. Nick McPherson hops in. Alright, getting ready, away he goes. So let's see how he gets on when he'll have to do a lap and cross the line to see where they slot in as far as their lead goes.
I didn't see what the lead actually was when he pulled into the pits, Brendan. Did you see that?
So 63 seconds. Alright, so we've got a gear shifter problem there from one of the sims.
Technical difficulty going on in the background.
So Shane Edgar, Paul Lancaster sitting in P2, Billy Manson with Nathan Kippenberger there in the Victoria Bitter machine. So 1:34.0 goes to Shane Edgar as he gets up to speed in the South Canterbury Removals Falcon. That's allowing him just to edge out a little bit there from Billy Manson in the Victoria Bitter machine. Just looking back in the shot, we can see Johnny Small in the HOSS Falcon coming into view as Shane Edgar heads off down the big back straight at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. We can see Dallas Redhead just out of shot there in the Sesame Street machine. But looking at Shane Edgar, Nathan Kippenberger.
Here we go, we've got Braden Carroll and Andrew Bruce here battling it out for 6th and 7th position.
So Braden Carroll getting all out of shape. Coming on to the big back straight. So Alice Sprague is in the Milwaukee machine now. He's already thrown in a 1:33.4.
Oh, we just missed that. It looked like Bruce was having a bit of a dive up the inside there. Looks like he's got the job done. Slots up into 6th position. So here we are back with Shane Edgar and Billy Manson. Manson's just caught up into the back bumper of Edgar there over the last half lap or so.
Certainly has. So perhaps a wee moment there for Shane Edgar that's allowed Nathan Kippenberger to get on his bumper. And as we've cycled through the pit stops, a 30-second lead to Nicholas McPherson in the Brembo Falcon. So Alex Sprague, fastest lap of the race. He's sitting in P8 after Paul Atu handed over the Milwaukee machine. Can he do anything? He's got a good 30 odd seconds to catch up to P7. That's the Adam Bell, Braden Carroll, Kmart Holden. But focusing on the battle for P2 on track. Shane Edgar, Billy Manson on lap 19 out of 32. Another fastest lap to Alex Sprague, a 1:32.8.
Yeah, lapping a couple of seconds quicker than everyone else, but unfortunately the best part of a minute behind.
Yeah. So that is the second fastest lap of the evening for Alex Sprague. Earlier on he did a 1:32.5.82. So through the S's onto the front straight goes Shane Edgar, starting lap 20. Just 0.4 of a second between himself and Nathan Kippenberger in the VB machine. They head through the fast left-hander up the hill. And around the right-hand hairpin they go.
Billy Manson just not quite close enough this time to have a look up the inside.
Yeah, it really needs to be right on his bumper coming out of that hairpin so he can try and force a manoeuvre at the end of the long back straight into the hard braking zone. Shane Edgar just pulls out half a dozen car lengths. Through the right-hander he goes. And heads off into the infield part of the circuit. A little bit loose there for Billy Manson in the VB machine.
Don't think it really cost him much though. Another fastest lap for Alex Sprague. Back there in 8th position, 1:32.7. So only a couple of tenths behind his fastest lap of the night.
So it's still got plenty of time though to make up till he gets onto the back of Braden Carroll in the Kmart machine in P7. Let's see what Alex Sprague can do this evening in the 32 lap enduro. Race leader on lap 21 out of 32. As is Shane Edgar and Billy Manson. So their co-drivers Paul Lancaster, Nathan Kippenberger were having the same battle in the first half of the race. Ended over the Utes in a good position to both of these drivers. They are moving away from Johnny Small, who's now out of shot in the HOSS machine.
Two quite different lines heading through that corner as if we hear some colourful language in the background.
And into the hard braking zone. Shane Edgar, Billy Manson in the VB number 24. Just getting light as they head uphill and down Dale. Just need to be very balanced on the throttle as the Utes float round. So the way to go. All right, go through the right-hander. Left-hander coming up to the S's as we head into the front straight.
So Shane Edgar just opening up that gap a little bit. Taking the pressure off himself.
Yep. And they are slowly closing the gap to Nicholas McPherson.
You are right, yeah.
So it was out over 30 seconds after they cycled through their pit stops.
What are you now? 25.7.
So although Shane Edgar and Billy Manson are racing each other, they're still putting in faster lap times than Nicholas McPherson. So 11 laps to do something about it though for our P2 and P3 drivers. They've got a 10-second lead over Johnny Small in the HOSS machine. There he goes.
And McPherson doesn't really have to push too hard. He's got that 25-second buffer or whatever it was there before. As long as he just keeps it on the straight and narrow over 7 laps, then he should be okay. No, it's more than 7 laps, isn't it? 22 out of 33, 11 laps.
Yeah. How's your maths? How do you get on with a rule there at work there as an engineer?
It's not functioning today, clearly.
No. All right, so Alex Sprague has been putting in fastest laps of the race. Now 11 seconds in arrears of Braden Carroll. In the Braden Carroll, Adam Bell, Kmart Holden. And there's Andrew Bruce in the Jim Beam bonded machine going around in P6. He's 5 seconds in arrears of Morgan Dorr, giving Elmo and Cookie Monster a fright anytime soon. There is the Adam Bell machine. So he'll be looking in his mirrors in a few laps' time to see if Alex Sprague can get on his bumper.
He's kind of out on his own there, isn't he? Speaking of the devil, here is Alex Sprague.
There is the Milwaukee Falcon Ute. So in the sprint races, Alex has had 6 from 6. Had a very good dice with Shane Edgar in the second of their sprint races this evening. Just managed to get past with half a lap to go in the 8-lap sprint race. So that was a 1:33.0 that time for Alex Sprague. Through the fast left-hander, heads off up the hill. Oh, some excitement here, but they'll think that's coming from the golfing green next door. Someone teeing off.
I think so.
Something went a bit astray.
Teeing off verbally.
Yeah, definitely teeing off verbally. So Shane Edgar, P2. He's just pulled out a couple of ute lengths over Billy Manson. They're about to start lap 24 out of 32. Down the front straight he goes again, through the fast left-hand sweeper, then off up the hill. Just runs it out wide.
Slightly faster lap there from Manson that last lap. 1:33.1. So his time's just coming down, although that gap not changing a whole lot.
Yeah, Shane Edgar just gets out on the ripple strip, gets a little bit loose, getting onto the back straight at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. Then heads off to the heavy braking zone. Heads off into the infield part of the circuit. So Nicholas McPherson still leading. Leads now only 22 seconds with 8 laps to go. Got a very generous lead given to him when Dylan Dalrymple handled over the Brembo Falcon. Let's see if Nicholas can get it to the end of the race. So Shane Edgar, he's got 1.3 seconds over the Billy Manson, Nathan Kippenberger, Victoria Bitter Holden. Through the S's they go onto the front straight.
Yeah, Edgar's just responded that last lap to that gap closing up. Just opened it back up again.
Yeah,
keeping him at bay.
1:33.4. Shane Edgar, 1:33.7 Billy Manson. Up the hill they climb. On the brakes into the right hander. Good passing opportunity if you're on his bumper. Out to the ripple strip. Down the big back straight they go. Up to 6th gear in the V8 Utes. First time they've hit top this season, says Paul Lancaster, who is sharing the South Canterbury Removals machine with Shane Edgar.
Yes, he is watching on with vested interest as Paul Lancaster. Put that ute in a good position.
Yeah, I must say he hasn't got the same hand gestures as Shane Edgar was. We had claps and hand waves, fist bumps, yeah, hand rubbing. And then he started watching the racing. All right, over the front straight goes Nicholas McPherson. 2 start lap 26, a 1:34.9. So how is Alex Sprague going? So he's now 6 seconds or so behind Braden Carroll, Adam Bell. Braden doing a very good job, doing a 1:34.0. 1:33.0 for Alex Sprague on the last lap. So Shane Edgar does his fastest lap, a 1:33.2.
Hello.
Well,
Who was that? Was that Morgan Dorr? I think had a wee moment there. He's just dropped a position.
Morgan Dorr on the machine he shares with Dallas Reedhead.
It's allowed Andrew Bruce up into the 5th spot there. Andrew Bruce had been sitting behind Morgan Dorr there for quite some time.
Yeah, so through the S's onto the front straight goes Morgan Dorr. He's going to start lap 26. And up the hill climbs Andrew Bruce in the Jim Beam bonded Falcon Ute. So they're sitting P5. Last lap was a 1:34.6. Johnny Small's 15 seconds up the road. There goes Johnny Small in the HOSS Falcon. Just through the right-hander he goes.
Yeah, cutting a bit of a lonely figure there is Johnny Small. Here we are back with Billy Manson and the Shane Edgar battle.
So going on all race between these two.
Not too much has changed. If anything, that gap's closed up slightly.
So on lap 27 we can just see the Nick McPherson machine heading on down the long back straight.
Yeah, that gap down to just under 19 seconds now.
So on board with Shane Edgar. Through the right hand kink, just clips the grass. Keeps it pegged.
Note to himself in the middle of the dash there. Don't crash.
Alright, so Paula Gastel saying where the dark parts of the circuit are, where it's been resealed, definitely offers more grip. But you can see Shane just keeping it in the zone.
Well, someone's got a couple of wheels off the side there. That's Braden Carroll.
Yeah, so Alex Sprague about to hunt down Braden Carroll. He's 2 seconds a lap faster. But it's one thing to catch them, another thing to get past.
Exactly right.
Paul Lancaster was saying, although it is quite a wide circuit, in a lot of places there is really only one line. There we go, just gently goes Alex Sprague. Just on 2 seconds now.
Alex making up his time in the corners there. Very, very good. Very fast through those corners.
Right, back on the gas, runs it out wide. Through the right left hand combo. Hunting all the time. Braden Carroll getting bigger in the window. There we go, through the S's onto the front straight. They're going to start lap 28.
Very good, Howie.
Through the fast left-hand sweeper, we climb up the hill. So Braden Carroll gets quite wide onto the ripple strip. Right, puff out.
Oh, there's a wee mistake there from Carroll.
Goes a bit wide. Alex through the inside. Down the back straight they go. So it looks like Alice has got the job done already.
He's on the right side of the track. to see what happens.
Yeah. He's got the brave pills into the heavy braking zone.
Still going to slick side by side. He's not letting it go. But, might have just outbraked himself there a little bit, Braden Carroll. I think Alex now's got his nose in front. He's going to keep it there.
All right, so next target for Alex Sprague would be 9 seconds up the road, Morgan Dorr. But he's only got 2.5 laps to go. Nicholas McPherson now leads down to under 16 seconds. But he's got plenty of laps behind him. Only a few laps to go. Just really needs to get through to the end without getting involved in anyone else's business.
So that's not a shot we've seen a lot of. Brendan, the side camera.
No.
Off the side of the car. Quite a neat shot.
It is a good shot too, out the side of the Brembo Falcon Ute. Alright, through the S's onto the front straight. Nick McPherson's going to start lap number 30. There goes P2, that's Shane Edgar.
Still no change between these two guys. That gap remains about the same.
Yep, Billy Manson not giving up any time soon. 0.8 of a second behind the South Canterbury Removals Falcon Ute. Goes the Victoria Bitter Holden. Up the short straight they go once again. And then through the right-hander down the long back straight.
Manson's still not close enough to be able to take up that passing opportunity there, up the inside.
Shane Edgar, if he can just keep that nice distance, it doesn't allow Billy to harass him. Through the right-hand kink goes the South Canterbury Removals Ford Falcon into the heavy braking zone on lap 30 of 32.
Yeah, Shane Edgar just keeping him at arm's length.
Yeah, so just looking back, Alex Sprague now 5 seconds behind Morgan Dorr. So that's the 6th and 7th battle. And looking back to Braden Carroll, Adam Bell in the Kmart Holden.
And that was Morgan Dorr you just saw pass through the corner of shot there.
So
there
down
he is
the
there.
back straight. Alex Sprague will be able to see his quarry. On lap 30 out of 32 for Alex Sprague. Is he able to take another position before he gets to the checkered flag? Just through the resurfaced part of the track. There goes Morgan Dorr in the machine he shares with Dallas Redhead. Still a good clear view out the back. This is Alex Sprague just coming into view. Good shots from the rear race cam there on Morgan Dorr's 711 liveried machine. Through the S's onto the front straight. They start lap 31.
Here we are back with our leader. So Nick McPherson still holding that 13-second lead. Only a lap and change to go, or a couple of laps to go.
Yeah, you just about push it home from here. Last lap board for the Brembo Falcon.
Well, it'd be one. Yeah,
33 laps.
33 laps. Yep.
Oh, that's right, because we had a discussion 32 or 34. Yeah. So Paul said they've only fueled the South Canterbury Removals Falcon for 32 laps, so the fuel light might come on. I think we were watching some in-car footage last week and the fuel gauge was on F.
Yeah. Not going to end up doing a Jamie Whincup.
Oh, Jamie Whincup. Do you remember how frustrating it was watching those last couple of laps at Bathurst?
Painful.
It's all right, he's the boss now. You probably can't rag him about it. Anyway, so there is Alex Sprague, still trying to hunt down Morgan Dorr, who's only 1.5 seconds up the road. Okay, so is that the Alex Sprague Paul Latu machine has a time penalty? 15 seconds, all right. Okay, so
could make things interesting.
Alex Sprague needs to be at least 15 and a bit seconds up the road from Braden Carroll because they're racing under a time penalty. All he's focused on at the moment is getting past Morgan Dorr and the number 26 entry, and then just up the road we can see Andrew Bruce and the machine he shares with Jimmy Carroll, the Jim Beam bonded Ute. There's Johnny Small on the HOSS machine.
So I think they have just squeaked over that 15-second margin there, just before the screen changed. Alex Sprague. So let's see if he can hold that.
So Nathan Kippenberger, what can he and Billy Manson, what can they do? Must be getting awfully sick of seeing the back of that Ford Falcon of Shane Edgar and Paul Lancaster. Down the big back straight they go into the hard braking zone.
Well, that gap still hasn't changed much at all. It's just staying consistent.
Yeah, hovered around 0.8 of a second.
As we've seen in the last few races, all it takes is just one small mistake.
Yeah. Just hopefully Billy Manson doesn't get too excited and throw it all away.
Alex Sprague now up over Morgan Dorr, so that should probably secure that 15-second gap
over Braden Carroll and Adam Bell.
Carroll, yeah.
So our leaders are on the last lap. Here we go. Well done, Nick McPherson. Dylan Dalrymple
takes the chocolates.
They certainly do. I don't know if Billy Manson got to the line there.
Well, it does say he's finished, so yeah.
That's all right, got there in the end.
Shane Edgar, Paul Lancaster machine comes in second, Billy Manson third. Just looking at Johnny Small there at the moment. He's going to take the line for fourth. Next up, it's going to be Andrew Bruce. Here he is here in the Jim Beam bonded machine.
So it goes through the S's for the last time is the Jim Beam bonded Ford Falcon of Andrew Bruce. Get the checkered flag. So the Alex Sprague Latu machine crosses the line, but they are running with a 15-second penalty, so that's going to pop them down to 7th. We'll put Morgan Dorr, Dallas Streethead up to 6th. And then Adam Bell, Braden Carroll behind the wheel at the moment of the Kmart machine. They're going to go through P8. So convincing win there for Nick McPherson, Dylan Dalrymple. Dylan got them off to a good start there, B2.
Yep. No, he's raced well all night, did Dylan, so excellent work from him. And of course, Shane Edgar and Paul Lancaster also have both had good nights. So coming home in a well-deserved second place.
Just give you a points update for the night. Obviously, there's a double points in the enduro race, so it mixes things up a wee bit. But in Tier 2, I'll just do the top three. So third for the night in Tier 2 was Paul Latu on 498 points. Second was Kippy. Well done, mate. It was a bloody good effort. 516 points. Second overall in Tier 2. And Dylan was, the clean sweep, mate. Is pretty impressive. Well done, Dylan. 600 points. Top 3, Alex was 4th, actually. Overall for the night in Tier 1. 15-second time penalty hanging over him, so 6 got changed to 7. Third overall for the night in Tier 1 is Nick McPherson with 507 points. Second overall was pretty tight as Shane Edgar on 510 points, and first was Billy Manson on 506. So pretty close. So I'll do an update tomorrow, but that looked like good fun, that track. You guys are going good. I'll do an update with the points and everything. That's provisional results to give you a bit of an idea, but hopefully you all enjoyed that. Bloody good. We'll see you next week. Next round is Mont Tremblant. I don't know what that is.
So the next round we're heading over the border to Canada, or the 51st state according to Mr. Trump. And next week we are racing at Mont Tremblant, and it's not an enduro next week. We've just got sprint races. So hopefully you've enjoyed the live stream this evening, coming at you from HOSS in the Royal Arcade, Timaru. Have a good week, peeps. We'll see you soon. Good night, B2. Have a happy birthday and a good birthday tea tomorrow night at Austin's in Temuka.
Thanks, mate. I'll head home now and have my tea for tonight now. I'm feeling a bit hungry.
Hopefully Leonie's got the latest lingerie out for you ready.
All right, good night all.